KC right now, but I'm not from KC. As you know, I'm from New Orleans originally, retired veteran. So my experiences concerning community and what goes on in communities and in neighborhoods and uh it's kind of broad. It's more lengthy than just hearing KC but there's very similar things that exist in all communities, no matter where I was, no matter where I was stationed, no matter what state I was in. You can always find what they call the hood everywhere, right? So I'm from what they call the hood, Ninth Ward in New Orleans. That's where I'm from. So I understand the language. I understand the lingo. I understand the actions, the interactions, and all of those things. But that didn't stop me from being a productive man. You know, it doesn't stop you from being productive, and it definitely gives you a lot to offer to the world, a part of the world that they don't get to see or they don't quite understand. So sometimes we as men, black men, get misrepresented when we say we're from a certain place. Like if I say I'm from the Ninth Ward in New Orleans, automatically some people who think they understand that area they have a thought about me automatically, right? And even people who are farly detached from being a part of the neighborhood or a part of their community, when they hear that, their perception of you can kind of change a little bit. As soon as we say certain things like hood or, I'm from the streets, right? As soon as we say those things, because they're a part of our reality, right? That's a part of my reality. Before I stepped foot in the military, that was my reality. And I had to live into that, in that reality. And one thing that I always try to make it clear to people is that your environment is is evolutionary to you, meaning that you evolve inside of the environment that you live in, right? You either become a part of it or you perish because of it. So what's your opinion about that, brother? You kind of laid that out there a little bit to kind of start our conversation uh, off with. If you want to go ahead and explain yourself and give a little bit about yourself, that's fine. Or if you want to jump right into it, it's up to you, brother. What do you think?
Okay. Well, I, I'm city. I'm from Philadelphia, PA. Born and raised
That's
in
right.
Philadelphia, PA.
There it is, Philly.
Yes, yes. It's a big
Hands,
city.
boy.
Big city, East Coast. And all of the problems that plague the world happen in big cities. You can see it all, you know, especially what the point that you're saying about the if someone asks you where you're from and you tell them where you're from, but that's pretty much the case with anything. If someone said that they was from uh, Beverly Hills or they from this, it would be a connotation in their heads where you were from. And a
Right.
lot of times, big cities, especially the inner city, especially the hood that they say, have a connotation. But everybody in the hood is not exactly like everybody in the hood.
Facts.
Even though we all people and we all reside closely together, everybody's really truly an independent. Well, everybody can be an independent, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
And the things, it's many things that plague the inner city. It's many things that plague the inner city. I look at the inner city. I look at the inner city as like a microcosm of the world, meaning like what happens there usually happens. It happens everywhere, but it happens uh, the most intense there. You
Right.
know, like uh, before I'm trying not to lose my train of thought, but it's the connotations that people have. A lot of them stem, in my opinion, stem from TV shows, media. Some of it is true now. Some
Mm-hmm.
of it's true, maybe exaggerated, but some of it's true. But if people see people that look like you and me with a pooh shiesty mask and and at certain places doing certain things on videos like TikTok or whatever it may be, TV shows or whatever, or news reports, you know.
Right.
People will build a kind of will build a thought in their head. That's how everyone is, or that's how they are, you know. But that's just like you said, Zulu. That wouldn't stop you if that wouldn't stop you. It may hinder you, but it won't stop you. It
Right.
won't, you know. So I don't know. Well,
But this is, this is an organic show, man. I mean, just how you feel. That's all,
yeah,
because in response to what you just not said, I
yeah,
ran into it a lot. I ran into it a lot in my life, man. Uh, when you're talking normally to your peer group, people that you can resonate with, we always, where you from? Okay, my brother from Philly. Like I met you from Philly, man. And what I always admired about you in the conversations that we had is that you're a free thinker, brother. And when I mean, I think my thought process could be somewhere else, and you would come with this, and I'm like, he made me think about something right there that I never thought about before. So, what I'm saying, being from Philly, being from what they call the hood, so to speak, growing up in that environment, what we call inner city, because all of these terminologies and phrases, man, they were given to us by other people. So I use them lightly because you hear me call everybody brother. I've always done that. Was good brother until somebody show me different. When you show me you're not my brother, then I don't call you brother no more. Our relationship is torn from that particular point, not brother anymore. But we look at everybody as brother, and traditionally, in most of the time, people from the hood, when we meet each other, we may be from different places. I'm from New Orleans, you from Philly, but we can recognize something in each other, right? That make us say, okay, that's a good brother. That's a real brother right there. And then that way we can begin a friendship, even though we're from different hoods. Like from some things in the South, in New Orleans, Ninth Ward in New Orleans, we don't do like that. Like in Philly, I've been to Philly before, you know, and just the entire vibe is is different than it is in New Orleans, right? So because I've been there and experienced it, or if I hadn't been there, but I experienced you being from there. You bringing all that to me in your talk, in your conversation, in the way you describe things. That's all Philly, right? And like with me from New Orleans, you know, when I'm talking to other people from New Orleans, brother, that's from the hood or whatever, man, it's like my tone even switched. It goes back to that. Some of the way we talk. Some of the country slang y'all Philly guys might say we have. You might hear that come out me a little bit more, and vice versa.
mm-hmm.
I always look at uh, when I try to talk to young men. I want to bring it to young men, right? Because we've all been part of as grown men now who have families, doing the best to raise our children in whatever environment we're living in. Now, the environment my children grew up in and we're living in now is nowhere near as violent as the environment I grew up in. And I'm thankful for that. You see what I'm saying? I didn't want to necessarily have to raise my children in the same environment that I grew up in. But they still have to be privy to what goes on in what the people call the hood and the streets. So they won't go out into society and be a victim. Let's talk about a victim right quick, right? When you're growing up in the hood or the streets, as they call it, when you're growing up in urban society, I'm gonna use that term, urban society, you either evolve inside of the atmosphere that you're in, the environment, or you become a victim. And in that particular understanding, it opens the door to trying to figure out what's going on in society today, right? Why is it so violent to where we will kill one another so quickly? And then talk about what we're going through as Black people, how unfair we're being treated as Black people, um, and complain about society itself when we can so easily kill someone over something simple. What's your understanding about that, brother? I mean, your
Mm,
way of thinking. How do you think about that? I know I said a lot. You know what I'm saying?
I,
But
I, okay. No,
yeah,
I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm trying to see which part of it I'm going to tackle first.
right.
Let's let's say the idea or the ability to take someone's life at a whim. That's, in my opinion, what that is really when you don't love yourself and you see yourself. It's kind of like, it's like if you're in a situation and you don't like the way you look, love who you are, and you see someone that looks like you don't love or like them either. You
Mm-hmm,
know, that's one level. Then
mm-hmm,
another part of it, in my opinion, is the the cultural, uh, like the cultural mindset of being disrespected. Like, I think that fits big, especially in my town. I think that fits big. Like people that never been respected, whole being respected at a really high level.